Hi, for this next video we're going to be looking at how to complete a visual lighting software design. So step one, make sure that you have the drawing open on your computer. In this case we are doing 10 core packaging. Pretty simplistic drawing, a couple different styles of lighting inside of it. They're all located with a legend at the top. Some will be different colors, lines, circles, red circles, blue circles, and then obviously along the side you will see notes. These will need to be followed as well. So step one, open up Visual Lighting Software 2016, choose a new interior file. Okay, once we have this open, I generally like to keep this page, the raw data form, in front of me as well, so I don't have to constantly keep going back or split my screens. But for the beginning here, to show you, we'll have a split screen. So first things we have to look at is what is the ceiling height, because we're going to be putting this in a 3D outline. So right now we're looking at a 25-foot ceiling. The dimensions are all along the side here, 40, 40, 40, 40, 40. So that is every single bay marker. These are what these are. These are the I-beams that run along the facility. Best way to do a drawing is to have these put in, and then you don't miss any lights that way. If, for example, the facility is a little bit older, some of them aren't as easily marked out, or they're very different in sizes. In this case, sometimes they can be ignored. But if you look here, again, very symmetrical building, which makes it very easy. So we can look at this right here. So we got, take a calculator, 40 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 40 times 6, we got 240 as a distance. And then we can go 36 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So then we have 36 by 11, which is 396. So we know our dimensions to the facility, we know the ceiling height, we can go ahead and start a drawing. Visual is very difficult to use on a small screen, so I'll open that screen back up. So we have a few different options here. We have a variety of different windows: home, construct, modify, luminaire. These are kind of the areas below. The construct has all construct things, where the home will have a variety of different of everything. So with this being a perfect square, we can just do a room rectangular instead of non-rectangular. In this case we can put the ceiling height in at 25 feet. Standard reflectance is 80, 50, 20. A dirty facility would be like a mill or anything with a lot of black smoke or char. You can put that at 50, 30, 10, but for standard we use 80, 50, and 20. So ceiling height 25. You don't have to name every dimension because there's not a whole bunch of different rooms, and we're not going to be going back to edit too much. So we can put either, first starting here, rectangular room. I like to find 0, 0, and that'll bring me to the bottom left corner of my drawing. So 0 space 0, enter, and then I can bring it along. With this being a perfect square and we only need one dimension, we could easily put in the next X column, which would be 240, and the Y, which would be 396, or we can find it. So the dynamic zoom, which would bring and pan the screen, as you're seeing right now, is by holding the wheel on your mouse and then dragging, or if you zoom out or in by using the wheel to roll it back or forward. So right here I need to get to, if you see down here, you can see dimensions running. You can also see them by my cursor. What we need to get to is X 240 and Y at 396, so I can just put those in for now. 240 space 396, enter, and that's going to give me a huge rectangle, which I will then scale back or press Z for full screen. So here's that outline that we're seeing here, starting to come together. Next thing is we're going to get the line out. What I want to do is I want to change the color of this to make it a background or a gray where it's not going to be protruding out so much, but I'm going to put that at 40 feet. So I'll zoom in to easily find 40 feet. And what I'm going to do, you can see that this line can go in any direction right now. We have a function called orthogonal, which is F8, or it's also located down here. I believe it's this one here. No, it's one of these down here. I don't use it from here. Oh, right here. So the orthogonal mode will keep you at 90 degrees only, so you can't be putting a line like this, or once it's up, a little bit crooked. So F8 will turn this orthogonal on. And with my screen recording, it seems to not be working, and it's pausing the video instead, so I'll just click it. So we'll go to the top, and we'll find that line there. Now that we have one, we can go ahead and do an array function, which is the A button, otherwise found under one of these columns here, under array. Okay, but if we just simply press A, the hotkeys are very, very useful and must be used. So click once we have these selected by spacing or quantity. In this case is by spacing, because every 40 feet we're going to want a new line, and that will show from the drawing. So back to visual. Click on to enable these. What you first do is you left click on the item you want, then you right click to enable, and then you left click to activate. And then as we pull, a new one every 40 feet. Okay. And then left click to close. So that's done. Next up we'll do another line, so you can press L, or you can go to construct or home. Home and construct both have lines, but again the hotkeys are the easiest way to do it. We're going to go up 36 feet, and it's a little bit difficult to get exact from further out, so you can zoom in if needed. We'll go right to the far wall there. The A for array function again. 36 is already inputted, and we will left click, right click, left click, and pull it up to the top. Okay, now we have our nice evenly spaced grid. We'll go ahead and we'll save this. Make a design folder. And the first design is going to be Delviro, so it would be 10 core dash Delviro. And we'll go ahead, and once we complete it for one, we have to change the files inside of it to for the other lighting solutions that we're going to offer. So here we're going to next put in all these small buildings that are located inside of this. So we have a little shipping office here. We have a compressor room here. We have a maintenance office here, but a solid wall around it. We have another little shipping office or packaging office, and another one up here. Small workstation here. This is just a shredding area, so that would have to be a higher light levels. Notice that's 30. When designing lighting systems, we can never underlight a facility. Sometimes places are more overlit for what their application is. Maybe they moved in, it's a warehouse that moved into a manufacturing facility, and they have way too much light. In those cases we have to explain why we're decreasing the light, but for general rule of thumb, never design lower light levels than they currently have. So we're going to go ahead and place these things here. So shipping office, compressor room, maintenance, little packaging office. So next up, shipping office, they're about 10 feet tall. Again, it's just to show. So if we look at the shipping office, it is in 1, 2, 3, 4. Starting in the fourth, about 5 feet down, goes 40 feet up, 25 feet across. Starting in the 4, 1, 2, 3. 4. So we can always take little lines too and mark out areas to help us out. But we can just look at this as 140. Let's zoom in a little bit. 144. It's about 5 feet down from that, so we'll go 139. So we click with our left. We drag out to 48 feet tall, and you can see the little blue numbers as I'm lifting it up. So we got 48 by 25, and then we just left click again, and that's done. So now if I hold Control and my left click button and I drag, you can see that the facility is now in 3D mode as I drag around, and you can see that that shipping office is much lower. So it's pretty tough to get back to the original spot, so what we do is we press this Z button and the pan. So it's plan view and Z will bring us back to where we want to be. Also at the bottom here there's a couple little offices, so we'll put those in. Once we've already selected, right now the last thing we selected was a room. If I do a right click, you'll notice that this will change to the most recent action that Visual has used. So right click will bring me right back to here, and this is pretty much in between here, the first, second bay. It's 29 by 15, so we're going to go 29 by 15, and we have another one that's the exact same. So what I can do is copy with the C button. C button is copy. Select with the left click, right click to activate, and then left click again to enable, and then I can start moving it. And we'll put that one right there, right where it's supposed to be. We have a compressor room, 1, 2, 3, 4. As you can see, it's in the 5th cell. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th cell. Comes out about 10, 20, 25 feet. Each one of these little blocks here is always 10 feet unless stated otherwise, and that will help you count it. So you can notice here 1, 2, 3, 4. 36 a little bit different. It's kind of halfway. There is some rounding at times that it's done to it. So for example, this one here looks like 50, but it's actually 48, but the number's written in for you. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4. In the 5th, so if I right click again, I'm actually going to go to copy, so escape, because that was the last thing I chose, but I want to go back to room, and I'm going to go into the 5th cell here, zoom in a little bit to make it more exact, and about 25 feet in is the whole entire cell, and that would be the compressor room. So I can make a little note here with the construct text. It's a pretty big place, so you want to increase the text size, and you can go compressor room, insert, and then just wherever you want it, left click, drag to the area you want, left click again, and that text will come in. If you need to modify it because it's too big or too small, modify, and there is a edit text. Just click on it and you can edit at will. Next spot, what we're going to do here is notice that the maintenance office is just a solid line. It's one small office in the center. This is not actually a closed room here, it's just a wall. So if I go back to maintenance room, or to visual, I'm going to get my line drawing out, so I just press L. I'm going to go with a solid dark line here, and I'm going to bring it over. And that comes out about 35 feet. About the same as the, sorry, 25 feet, my apologies. Up, and then closes off here, 36 feet up. Okay, we're going to construct a small little room, 10 by 10. Control Z, it's about 12 by 12. So right click again, and I can do 12 by 12 without going back up to the top, pressing any of the buttons. Now this room, these walls need to be solid and closed off. Right now they're just flat lines, as you can see, and they're not 3D. So if we go to modify, extrude, we're going to extrude them all the way up to the the height of the building, which is 25 feet. Left click, and it's highlighted. Right click, activate. Now we have the wall. We have to make it solid, convert to solid. Click on the two areas with a left click and then a right click to make it solid. And you can see how they just darkened up. So now that'll block any light coming from either direction. Back to our overview. And then if I go up to this packaging office, I'm going to go up 2 cells and over a bit. 5 on this side, 13 on this side, up 25. So I'm going to get back out my room. I'm going to go up 2 cells over here. And then from this center line here, I want to go 5 feet out. So just, it's 160. I'm going to go to 155, 5, and then 13, which would be 18 feet total by 25 feet up. Okay, little packaging office located in the middle there. And then I have one more office located 1 cell up and 1 cell over. And that's just a small little 10 by 10. But the attention to detail on these things is important as a sales tool. So we put everything in, even though it wouldn't block the light. In this case, there is a large machine that does run the entire length of the facility that I have outlined in green here. It's not very tall. It's about 10 feet tall. I think I put a note of that. Oh, it's just a machine. So we're going to put that in. We're just going to put a kind of an outline of it to start. We're going to make it. We can make it even green, kind of highlight it a little bit. So we're going to start up here. Starts roughly about 10 feet from the wall, so 396. Put it right about right here, 383. Okay, I clicked with the left click. I'm going to go over 20 feet because that's how wide it is. And then I'm going to go down 3 cell blocks. So if we look at the thing here, it's going to go down over 20 feet, down 3 cell blocks. And then it's going to go back in a tiny bit, down 2 and over a little bit. And then we can follow it around. So down 3 cell blocks. We're going to go in about 5 feet. And then it's going to go down 2. Again, you can always scroll in to make this a little more accurate. Out 5 feet. And that's going to go down about 20 feet from the wall, so we're at 0. So we want to go look at this here. Original's over here. So we want to go to about 20 feet on the Y. And that'll bring us to 20 feet on the actual drawing. This is why we start at 0, 0. And then we're going to close it off. So we're going to just go back to this line here, and it's going to go all the way up. Now instead of going all the way up, I can just close this off. Oh no, sorry, this is a line function. So I actually have to go back and close it off. If it was a room function, then you could just right click and the last point will automatically go to the initial point, whether it's straight, on an angle, however it's located. But this being a line, we actually have to close it off. Okay. There we go. So that's closed off. It's not very visible. What I'm going to do is I'm going to press P for properties, or up here. I'm going to left click on that, and it should select everything. I want to see if I can make this. No, can't make it any thicker. Line weight. Yeah, here we go. Try 2. Okay, there. Now we can see that it's a little bit more outlined. You'll notice on the drawing here, we also have some conveyor rollers. I'm going to outline those in maybe a red or something not so stand out. Let's try this blue here. And these conveyor rollers, they go from about this shipping office over 3 cells, and it goes also up a couple cells, so about 20 feet wide. I'll just chuck those in really quickly. So we got the line here. about, let's say about right here, about 20 feet down, 3 feet over, or sorry, 3 cells over, back up, and we'll close that off. Then we're going to have another one kind of attached to it. It's coming out a little bit, about to there. Okay. I like things to look nice and even, so it's kind of not actually right to it. So let's close this here. See if I can just erase this one line without doing everything and exploding. No, I can't. So I'll just erase it. And then I'll just put the line back in. Now, if I want to get to an endpoint really quickly, there's a little thing here called endpoint snap. You can turn that on, and that'll bring me directly to any endpoint that's close by. Have a little bit of this endpoint off here. What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to, again, go to properties and make these a little bit thicker so they're a little bit more legible. Just change the weight of that line there. Having a difficult time. Too many things running at one time. Okay. So we can make little notes later. Blue outline conveyors, green outline large paper machine. The next step is to input the lighting. So we have all the rooms inputted, little maintenance office, packaging office. There's a little shredding area over here. So I'll just put a text comment on that right now. Construct text. Shredding area. So M is move, so I can just move that out a little bit so it's legible. We can put a line, just a regular black line. Maybe, there we go. And then we can just put this F8, well, F8 paused the video, I forgot, so just take orthogonal off so we can put an angled line. Put another one going this way. What we're going to type there is conveyor or rollers. Okay, we want this straight line, so let's put that back on. I'm going to move that in a little bit. And maybe later I'll make these a little bigger so they're, once I see the PDF, if I can read them or not on the PDF, go back in, make them a little bit bigger. Text again, so the last function I used was move, so I had to go back up to here and actually click the text. And this would be paper machine. And we'll just chuck that in there. So now we have things labeled. Area. Okay. Alright, so the next thing is to input some IES files. So if we go to Luminaire, this is where we have to select what light we're going to use based on the ceiling height, based on the style of light that they currently have, based on the distance apart from each other. So generally, rule of thumb, if the ceiling height is 25 feet, the lights can generally be 25 feet apart. If it's 20 feet, they can be 20 feet apart, and so forth. New, because we're adding a new luminaire schedule in. we're going to find our Delviro option. Okay, we're going to always use the Titan B for starters unless otherwise stated. We're going to start off with the 120 watt is generally the direct replacement for the 400 watt metal halide, which is shown in this design. So here, change the light loss factor to 0.9 for Delviro LED, 0.85 for T5 LED. I like to click this emergency here, and the only reason for that is just kind of brings the symbol for the lighting fixture out a little bit, so it's not so hidden into the background. If you wanted to add a sensor, just simply type in sensor, and that way we know which IES files are censored for the proposal, and then when the sales pitch is going on, they can say, if you notice all the blue ones, the blue rectangles are censored, but the green triangles are not censored, or whatever the other case may be. So we have got this IES file put in. We have to place it. The quick thing for that is Control P. Control P will bring up my placement, mounting height, about 2 feet from the ceiling height, so 25 foot, put them at 23 feet. Okay, we'll click, and now we can find out where we're going to place this. Oh, I already placed one. Control Z, remove that. Right click. Okay, 23 feet. So if we look at the design, metal halides can generally follow the same pattern. We don't like to stray from metal halide patterns too much because it is a lot more work for the installation. They have to run new conduit or new BX wiring, and if it's just to add one fixture or remove one fixture, then you have to alter every single light down the row, and it's a lot more work. So in this case, it's pretty nicely spaced, except for this area here. The reason why they did this was because these lights are high pressure sodium instead of metal halide, which are a yellow or orangish colored light. This being a paper place, they need to have daylight so that they can see the actual product that's coming out. This is not a daylight color by any means, but the T12s that they inputted were. So as you can see, they started to change them to metal halide up here, which kind of helps out a little bit more. It's closer to that daylight color, but still they vary in color too much. But everything here is going to be replaced with a new high bay fixture, everything that's high bay at least. So we can look at putting in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them before the shipping office. So I'm going to put these side by side so you can kind of follow along. So coordinates here, before the shipping office, 6. So I'm going to start it out about right here. Now that's done. Escape. If I press A, we go back to that array function, quantity, 1 on the X column, 6 on the Y column. So, excuse me, left click, highlight, right click, activate, left click, left click, activate. And now we have 6 before that column. We have 2 in the first row, then 1, 2, 1. Pretty equal. This actually follows along for quite some time. So if I just press copy, I can select the things that are being selected here. So in this case, if there's a calculation zone, it could be selected. Background stuff could be selected, which are these lines, the luminaires or the solids, which are the lines that block light. So if I unselect everything and only select luminaires, the only thing I can select here are the lights. So let's pull this over to the second column here. And then again to the, okay, close that off. Now I'm going to follow this up as if I was continuing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So pretty much 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So we already have this pattern. I'm going to press C for copy instead of replacing, because I know it's at the right ceiling height. Sorry, I'm not selected on that. So C for copy. And I'm just going to bring that up to about right here. Okay. And I'm going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it's 9 and the top one here is missing. So if I put in array function, 9 this time, and I want to stop it about right there, it should generally work out to pretty similar. So we're pretty close right there. This little bit off could be just maybe I didn't place it in the exact spot where it's supposed to be. This is just an estimated drawing, right? Or maybe their lights are a little bit closer, further apart from each other. So that's generally how we put the lights in. Now we're going to do the same thing for the next one. Except I want to add one more to this to make it equal, because I know that there is a shredding machine here, and I do want one more light. So Control Z, Array, 10, highlight. Okay. I'm going to add 2 more lights here. So let's array 3, and that'll cover these ones here. So whatever one you select, you have to add that into your array. So if I put 3, only 2 new ones will show up. Okay. Now I can copy, and since I only have luminaires scheduled here, or selected, I can just, I want to make that in the, get out of that part there, copy. Bring these over. Boom. Okay, now I got 2 rows done. I want to keep those pretty symmetrical throughout. There'll be a couple lights where they have to be added on. But for starters here, let's do 2 per row on the next one. So let's copy this. So you can see how dark these are. That's because we chose that emergency feature. Let's bring this over here. Put it right there. Now, usually you can keep going along with the copy, but I'm running out of room because I'm only at half a page, so I'll just redo it. 1, 2, and then 1, as you can't see it because I think I have too many things running at the moment. Let's do another one, and then one along this line here. Now I'll go through afterwards and make sure that we have the right amount of lights in here. So if we look at this here, we're missing one up here, couple up here have been changed, but again, if we have to add a light or 2 in, that's completely okay. This is the area of importance right here and right here along this machine, so that area we're going to make sure is nice and bright. So again, C for copy. Okay, make sure you're selected on the right tab window. C for copy. We're going to put 1 here. Again, we're having some issues with the copy feature. I'm going to put a couple more lines here. So right here. Now I'm just going to copy this double cell like that. Now we have 178 lights. That's shown at the bottom here. Just to quickly finish this off, we have the compressor room. No high bay lights are going to be in the compressor room. As you can see, they're just T8s. 8-foot 4 lamp splits, so we'll just put new lamps in there, so I can eliminate those. This light right here over the top of this office doesn't need to be there. This one next to the office here don't need to be there. This one does, but we're just going to move it over a little bit. I know it's going to pull out a line there, but we don't want it to be over top of a building, because then it's just useless. Here, okay. So this area here doesn't have metal halides currently, so it's going to be all new rewiring, basically running all new conduit throughout the ceiling, because these are going to be all in tandem. Under the machine we have some T8s. It's not an ink machine, so we don't have to worry about explosion proof or any classifications. It's just paper rolling. Those are located here. Those will be retrofitted, so all the green ones are just direct retrofits. You just change the lamps out to some direct LED lamps. The maintenance department, we have here T12 8-foot 2-lamp test. So any black line minus the surrounding in the building is going to be just a retrofit as well. So what we can do here is we got another one here. So these are lowered task lights. Let's remove. We're going to remove this one and this one here. I'm going to move this light up a bit, about centered to these ones here. We're going to create a new IES file. It's going to be new. What it's going to say is, in our IES files, T8 4-lamp T8. Sorry, 8-foot 4-lamp T8. So this is 4 LED lamps inside an 8-foot fixture. It's called the split fixture. We're going to make that green. We're going to change the name of it so that it reflects our product. So it's T8 8-foot 4-lamp split lamps only. So we're not putting a ballast in. It's just going to be simply change the lamps. Oops. That would be if you wanted to change the IS file. You just click on that and you can alter everything that's already inputted. Let's just give that a little bit of a lower light output. And 72 watts. Okay. So we have them located, just the lamps in the compressor room. So if I press Control P, these are also lowered. I know that because I did it, and I do apologize I didn't write it on there, but it's just a lamp swap anyways. So we're going to put those at 12 feet. So we're going to have 2 vertical, 2 horizontal ones. So vertical, and then 2 horizontal ones. So if I just change this orientation to 90 degrees, I'll then be able to put the orientation for the, press escape, M for move, and just kind of line them up a bit so it looks nice. Again, this is just a lamp swap. They're not changing positions, they're staying exactly where they are. Then we have these ones here, which are actually retrofits. So again, we'll go back to schedule, new. We'll flick that same one, but instead of putting lamps only, we're going to do T8 8-foot 4-lamp split retrofit. So that means new ballast, new split kit, and can make that color. We'll do it like we'll do it black just to kind of keep it in line with our drawing. So we're gonna make sure that's selected up top there. Control P. Again, those ones are lowered. They're all vertical, so we're at 0. And we're gonna put down 1, 2, and 3. So there are 3 of them in there. Right here you'll see some blue lines. I know it's a little bit difficult to see, but this needs a new vapor tight fixture, T12 4-foot 2-lamp. So again, we're going to go to luminaire. Now this is a 4-foot 2-lamp, but from me doing the drawing, I know that they're right next to each other. We can get away with an 8-foot instead of paying the money for 2 fixtures. So we can go, and this is going to be vapor tight. Again, we can just do the same IES file, and we can go T8 8-foot 4-lamp split, and then here we go, new vapor tight fixture. And now those are all separated, so when we come back and look at the design, we can say, hey, where the heck does this go? We know exactly where it goes. When we build the proposal, we can just look at the luminaire schedule and say, oh, okay, I understand. Even though there's maybe 6 different lights on the drawing, we look at the proposal and say, oh, we're only putting in these ones. So again, Control P, this one here is located at a 90-degree angle, and they're located about right here. And that's an 8-foot now, so we're gonna, that 4-foot's gonna go to an 8-foot. This, if you leave it at standard, it will actually be 8 feet long, this fixture. So if I pull the line out, start at one end, and I start dragging over, you'll notice that now I'm at 9 feet, 10 feet, but I have to go back to, you can't really read it because the green line's only, but that's 8 feet. Same with these ones here, 3 feet, 8 feet. So changing the size of the symbols, I'm not really a fan of, because it does change how big the actual symbol is on your drawing. This light right here, this is above an area that doesn't need to be there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull that one to the side over by the conveyor belt here. Now there's also a workstation here that they wanted much better light at. What we're going to do is we're going to add a task light there. So we're just going to put that same one here. I'm going to make it a brand new fixture. And we're going to put a color on it to differentiate it. Let's do red, emergency. And this one here will be T8 8-foot 4 lamp split, and just a regular new fixture. So you can see how we are starting to get a little detailed, but as long as we keep everything in control, we're not going to get lost on the design. So we're going to put that at 12 feet. It's going to be at a 90-degree angle, and this will be right over the workstation here. Right there. Now you'll notice that these lights here are actually up a little bit too high, so I can just pull them back a little bit here. Which I'm going to do. Try to straighten them out to the best I can with the drawing. One, two, one, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, and then it's 1, 2 here. So this should be just a row of singles. So let's just we'll eliminate this row here. Okay, we're going to move this row up a bit. Okay, move this row up a bit. Okay, then the next one here is 2. Just going to move this row down a bit to try. And then we got a single row here, and that's going to come down. We're going to have a few at the top there, so I'm going to add one more row. It's really only adding a couple fixtures. Oops. Okay, now that's pretty equal. So the next thing to do is to actually calculate what we've just done. So let's actually put a save on this, because we haven't saved it all since we started. So if I go to calculation or home, it would be a spot that says calculation zones. And here we can go to surface, or we can go to rectangular, polygon. And what that does is you can either trace the whole building like this. You can use a polygon if it's in different shapes, or if you have a solid surface like we do here, we can just press surface, we can label it, and we can say 10 core. The height for the spacing is just how far apart are your calculation points. This is a pretty big building, so let's do a little bit further apart so that the numbers that are calculated don't run into each other. So 9 and 9 height, this is at a 4-foot plane, so whereas it'd be like holding the light meter at 4 feet above the ground. This is what this is doing. So we're going to click on our exterior part of the building, or our the shell of the building. It's going to highlight everything. That's a left click, and then a right click, and that's it. So there are all those little dots are calculation points. Calculate. Give that a moment, and it's going to give me all the light levels. So basically all these green numbers here are light levels. All these red dots here will be light levels. They're a little overpowering on this design. There's a ton of them, so what we can do is properties. Click on one of the dots and you'll select your whole entire grid. Sorry, you have to make sure you select it here first. Okay, and then we can just change that color and make it a little bit less intense and more of a background, so they can still see it, but it doesn't take over the fact that we have all this other stuff inputted. So we can see here, we got about 20-foot candle. Let's look at the statistics. Average of 24. There's some areas here that are zeros. What we're going to do with those is we're just going to go to calculation, masking, surface, select the select the calculation zone, right click, and now select the areas that you want masked. You can also do this rectangular or polygonal, but I find that this is the simplest way, and then right click to close it off. So around our machine here we have 1623 here, increased light levels, and that's without even the little small task lights in. We're going to put these in afterwards. I'll add them in. Let's do that right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you'll notice one of them, it says 4 foot. So we're going to have to make a new IS file there. So one more IS file to make, and this would be the 2 foot. I know it's labeled a little bit weird, but this is a 2 lamp T8. We can change this to gold. T8, 4 foot, 2 lamps only. And 2800, 2900 both work. And it's 36 watts. So each LED tube that we use is 18 watts. So let's add that in here. We're going to put a mounting feet of about 7 feet because it's underneath the machine. We're going to put one of them in here. Okay. We're also going to put in the lamps only for the 8-foot split. Control P. Control P. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. And now I can just do my array function. 4. Done. We're going to recalculate. There's a calculate button right here, but I can't see it because I have the screen recording on. So we can just recalculate. Now you'll notice that there's some ceiling fixtures here, T12 8-foot 2 lamp along the ceiling. Those will all be removed. We're not gonna replace those. Just utterly pointless because we have all these high bays in here. Looks like our light levels are beating the existing light levels in all the important areas. A little bit of a hotspot here at 37. Could be some just where I calculated the point versus where this one's calculated. But overall, we have an average of about 20 foot candle here. We're beating that everywhere. So this is a good design. We're going to save this one. Afterwards, what we would do is after we save it, we would go back to Luminaire, schedule. We would change this top Delviro one to T5 LED and then again to BJ Take. But first we're going to go to print editing, and I don't know how to get there. Oh, there it is. But there's a little buttons up top here that I can't see. Print editor. I don't need this anymore, so I'm just going to maximize the screen space. Okay, so first things first, we know it's Delviro LED, which is made in Ontario. We can put 10 core packaging, accept, Green Integrations, the designer. Next thing we're going to do here is insert the drawing as a plan. It's going to be a lot larger, so we're just going to put it in here, kind of drag it around until we make it fit. Again, so this thing's going a little slow with the screen recorder. Just drag this in. This is to scale, so it's only going to go to certain sizes. So it won't be able to go bigger than this because, again, there's a scale. So every inch equals 60 feet. You can remove this. You can move it around. Yeah, sorry, keep this one here, but you can move it, not remove. You can see everything here, nicely located. Next thing to do is make a new page. So right here, duplicate that page. And on page 2, just give that a delete, put a schedule in. Now this shows all the lights that we've used. I'm going to make that a little bit smaller so it fits in our window. Statistic zone. Only one statistical area. Sometimes we have, warehouse manufacturing zones. You can do, I'll show you in a minute, but then we're going to do another drawing, southeast or southwest, whichever one fits better. This is a rectangle, so it doesn't really matter. But this one is not to scale, so it can move to any specific size as soon as I can stop loading. Okay. That southeast view, we don't know if it's actually southeast, so we're going to highlight that, press delete, that's gone. Alright, now this shows here. What we do is, again, I can't see, 2 pages, print, and we're just going to save that design. Save. Okay, now that PDF is saved for this, we'll close the print editor. Yes, you want to save this project as a print editor, so if you go back into it, you don't have to remake the PDF section. Okay, we're going to save the design as well. What I was just going to show you is a calculation, statistical points. So we can take a zone and let's just say we wanted to highlight a zone here, label it manufacturing. You can click on this, and then as you drag and drop over it, it can change colors and it'll show another zone inside of this zone. For this area, we don't really need to do that. Here we're going to change the luminaire. We're going to change this to T5. The 120 watt is equal to a 4 lamp. So if we go to fluorescent, I'm going to choose T5 wide distribution 54 watt. So this will be here, T5 4 lamp, T5 LED 4 lamp. Okay. 0.85, and this is 120 watts. So each LED T5 lamp runs at 30 watts. So 27 watt lamp with the ballast runs at 30 watts. So we can just select that. Now all of these automatically change, recalculate, resave it. So this will be saved as T5 LED. Recalculate. Okay, save that. Print editor. Okay, this is no longer Delvire LED, so let's just double click on this section here. I'm going to go to T5 LED 4 lamp. Accept. That's going to change both of these automatically as soon as it finishes loading. If it ever finishes loading. And here we go. Well, you see I've overloaded my computer. Hopefully not. Well, we would have to check the light levels for the T5. We're going to have to just close this because clearly not wanting to work. So save the PDF for the T5. Just the screen editor closed. Okay, good. Alright, so we're still in T5 mode. You can check that, T5. The light levels are almost the same. Maybe a little bit lower. We might have to go in and change some to 6 lamp, or maybe add some fixtures in certain areas, but overall it's pretty close to what they have now. We can save this print editor. Okay. So the reason why we save it is so we don't have to redo all this every time. So we got T5 4 lamp, T5 LED 4 lamp. Okay, it changed here, hopefully just okay. Well, I'm clearly having an issue with this, with the saving due to the screen capture that's going on here. But we'll save it. I'll create the PDF later, and that is how you complete a design. Thanks for watching.